Hey guys, it's Colin Stevens and PC Henry. We're back here, and this week we're actually going to talk with PC about something he is very very familiar with, and that's taking care of the body. PC is involved in strength and conditioning with all types of athletes, but specifically basketball. And we're going to talk about that today. LeBron James, it's come out over the past couple of years that he spends about $1.2 million on taking care of his body annually. And so $1.2 million, like that's a lot of ice baths. That is so much money. Can you break it down on how that could even be used? Like, how do you spend that much money on taking care of your body?
Well, I think in one part is buying the equipment so he doesn't have to go to, a facility. It's just there. It's a part of his house. It's, right now his primary business is his body.
Right.
And so he's made a ton of money using it, and he's pouring a ton of money back into his business, which, you're always taught to do. You make money and you reinvest it to make more, right? And so that's what he's doing, and it's just it's a wonderful cycle to see somebody that's so gifted participating in.
Right, because genetically he is a freak. It looks
Right.
like you would think that somebody like that,
God made him to be in the NBA.
Sure.
He was the DNA code that God gave him. He was going to be a pro.
Right. So if we're talking about taking care of the body, what are the factors? What are the things that we have to think about? Most athletes, I was a college athlete, you were a college athlete. It's like after you get done playing, you ice the knees or you jump in the cold tub, and then you try not to eat too much greasy food. But what are the factors that contribute to taking care of your body?
Yeah, there's four, and it's very easy to get stuck on. I'm killing it with one, and not really, and really one of them is a lot of fun, and the other ones aren't.
Right.
But so there's four. I'd say there's four. There's training, there's nutrition, there's sleep, and then there's a role of genetics in play. And I think the awareness of your genetics is really important on the physical side,
right,
as an athlete. So
let's unpack the training piece then first. What's training? How do we in off season, in season, what's the importance of training in order to keep our bodies right?
Well, it prevents injury, it increases performance. As far as shortening it down.
Yeah.
If you are stronger, you are a better athlete.
Right.
That's just how it is. You move if you move better, more efficiently, you are a better athlete.
Okay, so in terms of off season, should we be training our bodies not just on the court, right? But should we be training physically 2-3 days a week or
Well, it depends on your goals. All this, that's the thing, is there's nothing absolute in this. It's all situational. I would bring up, DeAndre Daniels was here this summer. He had the most massive physical transformation of anyone I've worked with. He came in, he was injured. He was 193, and just beat up. He was injured. He was weak. It was just a total blank slate thing, and we had to work around his injury and everything. But he totally bought in, and he wanted to do it to the max. And so he gained 20 odd pounds, and he was leaner when he left than before. And I didn't even think that would be possible.
Right.
And that's where the genetics came into play.
Sure.
He's more genetically gifted than I think he realized.
So he probably just worked out once a week. Twice,
no, he was working. He was working out 5 to 6 days a week.
Right.
Hard. And for some people, they would, that might be considered overtraining. But the thing is, I don't really believe in overtraining, and I don't mean just tough it out. You're under recovering.
Okay.
And I think that's a concept that athletes understand when it's too late.
Right.
But recovery is, I guess, what sets the table for your next performance.
Right.
And we miss on that because we're always taught grind. But we're never taught, like, it's not like promoted, like, but also take care of yourself,
Right.
but also make sure you get a good night's sleep. Like,
Right.
yeah, everyone thinks you should sleep or whatever, but they don't understand that it's equal.
Yeah.
It's not like an important piece. It's equal to the training.
Sure. So DeAndre gained that weight, mobility, strengthening,
And he was
all parts
injury-free when he left.
and injury free. So, okay, that was in the off season. How about during the season for college or pro athletes during the season?
So if you're warming the bench, get in the weight room.
Right.
Like once you're during
Yeah.
season, because practices have gotten shortened
Right.
and there's just less frequency.
Right.
So like, if you're on the bench and you've got an away game or you got 2 home games this week, all right, there's 2 days that you're not practicing full
Right.
on. You might have a walkthrough or whatever and shoot around. But if you're warming the bench, you're not
Right.
taxed
Right,
at the
right,
end
right,
of at the end of the day. And that's 2 out of the week. And then the days right before a game, I mean, depending on the coach, but you're likely not going to go
Get all the
super
reps,
hard.
sure.
Like, and
All right. How
so-
about the guys that are getting all the reps then?
okay, twice, 3 times a week. And really, it comes down to how are you recovering?
Yeah.
That piece is even more important to make sure that you don't get sick and run down when you're trying to do that. And that's why, again, it's that rest and the nutrition are equal components to the training or the playing and the grind of it.
But in season, like,
yes,
it
you
hel-
should
it
lift.
helps
It will
to maintain
it'll drastically reduce your risk of injury. Nobody wants to go into atrophy and lose their muscle. That hurts performance.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to be the guy that peaked mid-season and then in playoffs you're
Right.
withering away.
So it's more like maintain during the season,
Mm-hmm.
not try to make gains during the season, but maintain.
unless you're a bench warmer. and-
Right. Okay. All right. So from the training perspective, that makes sense. How about from the nutrition perspective? Like, how does that tie in?
It's an equal part, and I'll just talk briefly about one thing that bothers me, particularly in the basketball world, because it's just, I don't know how, but it's just become so relevant and always has been, is your sugar intake.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much your average basketball player, how much sugar they bring in, whether it be fruit snacks or Gatorade chews or straight up, gummy worms or like, you know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right.
like sugar
Yeah.
is the number one cause of inflammation.
Right.
Inflammation is the number one cause of injury and chronic illness.
Can you say that again? That whole sugar statement.
Sugar is the number one inflammatory substance that you can put in your body.
Okay.
Sugar causes inflammation in the joints, which can cause movement problems. And when we get out of our natural movement patterns, it will cause injury.
Okay. So aside from the things that we really know that have sugar, right? We know gummy worms. We know Gatorade. We know the stuff that
We
really
didn't
has
know Gatorade because it's a sports drink.
Right,
And
right, right.
Gatorade
Okay,
sports drinks.
right.
And not knocking Gatorade, but
Right.
it's the timing of that sugar.
Okay, so what else? What don't we? What other foods maybe don't we know that contain a ton of sugar?
So
Maybe with 3 or 4.
banana, peanut butter, those are the ones that come to mind as things that are quote unquote healthy.
Yeah.
And it's not that they can't be,
Right.
but if you eat, 2 bananas with some peanut butter,
Right.
bro, you're killing
sugar.
yourself. You're
Wow.
so much sugar,
Yeah.
and so sugar is how should I say this? Put it around your workout. Put it where you're using it.
Oh, right.
Like it has it can have its purpose. You don't
Right.
really need sugar,
Right.
but that's a whole nother podcast
Yeah.
on its own.
Yeah.
But fats are a pure source of energy
Right.
than sugar. But Yeah, I mean, around your workout when you either need them because I'm about to use them
Yeah.
right away, because they're the quick burners, and then or right after to restore,
Right. Right.
so
All right. So if
and get
okay,
that
so
insulin response.
so let's monitor our sugar better. But what can we? Let's say we're dealing with some inflammation, because most all athletes, if we're getting enough reps,
Yeah.
we're dealing with some inflammation. So
I mean, the plant-based diet is your best route. The more dark leafy greens and purples like that, like those are the colors you're going to be looking for reduced inflammation. Not to say that certain other fruits and whatnot can't help,
right.
but that's like the most, and the bitter herbs and
Yeah.
plants, like the more bitter it is,
Yeah.
the more micronutrient dense it is. And that's where I think we miss mostly, is even as athletes, when we start trying to eat better,
Yeah.
it's like order a salad and it's iceberg lettuce,
Right.
and it's like, whitish green, like it's not super nutrient dense. It's not bad for you,
Right.
but you're kind of wasting your time.
Right.
And so my point is a lot of athletes think, okay, I'm eating steak and I got my salad with it and my
Right.
white potato, and like it's a real meal,
Yeah.
some asparagus, and like it's not that that's bad, but we've got such an opportunity because nobody else is eating a diet that's micronutrient rich.
Right.
So the macros are the proteins, carbs, fats, like everyone's pretty familiar with those.
Right.
But like you can't, like the little things are the big things
Right.
eventually.
Right,
like
right,
the
right.
processing of the proteins, the
Yeah.
processing of those carbs, like, keeping inflammation down. That's
Yeah.
done in the micro. And so if we can get athletes to, like LeBron, he takes care of his cellular health.
Right.
So the cells are the basic building blocks of everything in us.
Right.
And if that's on point, like that's your foundation.
Yeah.
Like everything else can figure itself out.
Right.
And so it baffles me that, like, I think about Derrick Rose, like, by the way, he's playing phenomenally.
Yeah.
Might be on the comeback.
Right.
But when he got all those injuries, I mean, we've talked about it before, he had a Ferrari engine with terrible brakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like brakes are really important.
Right.
But and that's more in the training thing, but that was a details matter that somebody probably should have come in to his life and helped him work on his
Right.
brakes.
So when he was probably told about, a plant-based diet and like purples and greens, he was probably thinking purple and green gummy worms.
Right.
So they're not. They're
Right.
They're
No,
not,
no.
Okay.
They're
not.
things that God made.
Okay. Okay. Things that got.
That the quickest way I can say to eat right is, in general, eat what God made.
that we can pick out of the earth.
Yeah, and then I go based off of our teeth. We've got these sharp ones. They're in limited supply,
Right.
but they're there.
Right.
So have some meat.
Right.
But we got a lot of these flat ones.
Yep.
And so that's for
Right.
plants.
Right.
So plant-based
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what I would say. I don't think you got to go total vegan
Right. Right.
or anything, just more plants. As you look at your plate, there should be more plants on it than anything else.
Right.
And those other things still should be on there.
Right. Right. All right. So we're seeing how training and nutrition play its role. One of the other things that you said was sleep.
How many hours of sleep? LeBron. So let me backtrack. Sean Stevenson, he's a huge guy in the health and wellness industry. He wrote a book called Sleep Smarter. I believe it's called Sleep Smarter. But literally, this whole book is about sleep, like in total depth. And he met with some of the elite performers in the world. LeBron's one of them. And on average, they're getting 10 hours of sleep a night.
10 hours of sleep.
10 hours of sleep.
So they're probably not going to bed like crazy late and getting up kind of early. I mean,
No.
so does it matter?
possible.
Does it matter when you go to bed?
It helps for your, they call it circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay, so your sleep pattern, and it can change throughout the year.
Sure.
Sun goes down, it's bedtime.
Right.
Sun comes up, you're up. So that's going on. But then also they found like the money 4 hours out of all of them.
Yeah.
Like if you had to pick 4 to have,
Yeah.
it would be that 10 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Oh, wow. Wow. So, I mean, I know a ton of pro athletes that aren't going to bed until like 1 a.m.
Right. And some of them are going to be fine.
Right.
But they're just not going to hit the level they're capable of.
Right.
That's all this stuff is when we're
Yeah.
talking about athletic performance.
The details
It's a little bit here, a little bit here. It's not like you eat this great meal and have this great training session, get a great night's sleep, and you wake up and you're like, you're
right.
LeBron.
Right.
Like this is like an inches thing, and that's why so
Right.
many people miss on it.
Yeah.
But that's why the guys that are coming up have such an opportunity.
Right.
Because now the information's available.
Right.
If you have a smartphone, you
Right.
can get a lot of there's great doctors and whatnot you can follow on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's weird, like follow somebody that is going to put stuff out there to like help you,
right,
not
right.
just like entertain you.
Right.
But yeah, they're out there. And so like, I mean, it's like the perfect storm. Like it's easy to get a hold of
Yeah.
and no one else is doing it.
Right.
Or many others aren't doing it.
So I mean, this can be done without $1.2 million a year.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing is, LeBron was doing this before he had all the money.
Right.
The best biohack you have is to go to bed early
Right.
and get a full night's sleep.
Right.
Full night's sleep.
Yeah.
Right there, you're setting the table hormonally.
Right.
Recovery wise for your muscles, for your joints, everything. Like.
So the last one of the four that we haven't talked about yet is genetics. Like, how does that play a role in taking care of our bodies, and what do we need to understand about it?
Well, I think it's genetic awareness. If your family has a serious history of heart disease, like you need to you really need to keep an eye on that you're staying consistent nutritionally, and that you're staying active and working that hard out.
Right.
And getting a good night's sleep.
Sure.
So that, like, from a health standpoint, awareness wise, just for like what could be in the foreseeable future,
Right.
if I don't take care of business.
Right. When I think about our family genetically, my dad goes to bed super late every night, and it's like I almost adopted that. I mean, I definitely adopted that pattern.
Right. And so I'm including in genetics because it's there, it's happening, but it's not necessarily like a gene passed down, but we inherit some of the habits of our parents or our environment, whoever we grew up with.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what's really interesting about all this. Like, you're a parent, like your kids are going to pick up on a lot of your health habits.
Right.
Like,
Right. So then
they're going to like to eat the things that you eat because they were eating it before they knew if they liked it or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, that's the big thing with, like, parents of, like, athletes also is, like, you really want your kid to be the man? Well, you got to better step up.
Right.
Right.
Because it passes
You better
down.
put the beer down.
Right.
That, like, that's, and because whether the kid will admit it or not, they're adopting certain things that's acceptable, that's not, because they look up to you whether they like you or not.
Right.
Like, I mean, they just have to.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
your kid.
Right,
like,
right.
they can't help themselves. So yeah, I mean, that's what I'd say on the sleep front, on the nutrition front.
So
And then as far as your body type, though,
Yeah.
there's like, you need to be aware of and have experimented with yourself what different types of exercise methods, different types of and balances of nutrition. Not really. The sleep's pretty consistent for most people, but in those two, like, there's a workout program out there for you that you're gonna respond to crazy quickly, and I'm not. We're just different. There's diets that are gonna are gonna lean you out, and you're gonna you feel great, and I'm just gonna kind of struggle around, and vice versa.
Right.
And so that's why I feel like that's why a lot of people give up.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, I tried the ketogenic diet, I tried paleo, I tried this didn't work. Well, it just didn't work for you.
Right.
And it doesn't mean it's wrong. And like, in the health and wellness industry, there's a lot of like if I'm a paleo guy or a keto guy and it doesn't work for you, you're just doing it wrong.
Right.
Because I'm right, because it works.
Right.
It works. And like, what we don't understand is you're right, it does for you.
Right.
And for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But for you, the way your body processes fats might be different than mine.
Yeah.
You know, we were all made uniquely, right?
Right.
I mean, we can all kind of. So I mean, everyone, and so it is a journey, and it's meticulous, and it can be annoying at times, but.
So
The people, that's why there's that opportunity to be different and
Right.
separate yourself. Even professionals in the workplace, if your diet's on point and mental clarity, there's a great book by Max, I don't even know how to say his last name, but go buy it. It's called Genius Foods. And literally this guy, because he was passionate about helping his mother, she was having some health issues, particularly with her brain. And this cat was just like, I'm going to learn everything about food and the brain and like different responses. And he's like helped so many people and helped his mother. And like, so if you're a business person and you're missing on your diet, you're losing money.
It's affecting your results. All right, so all of these 4 elements, training, nutrition, sleep, and genetics, they all affect each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing that we can try to do is be good at all of them. Are we going to be able to be good at all of them?
Yeah, you can be good at all of them. I mean, genetically is probably the toughest one because you have the least say-so in it.
Right.
But still, like the way God made our bodies to respond to stimulus, like you can figure it out. It just might not. It just might take you longer.
Right. And so particularly for professionals, like guys, if you've got time in your day to put in like extra hours taking care of your body, like invest in it now, and as you'll have a longer career. And so I feel like that would be a message that we would send.
Well, win 3 things. Every day you got an opportunity to win 3 categories. Can you win on sleep? That's a point. Can you win on training? Have a good session. Can you win nutritionally within your things? Like if you can feel pretty good about those 3 points every day, and most cats are getting 2 and 1s and 0s, that stacks up over time, and it's like what's called like compound interest. Like it's too late, but Steph Curry, he shot all the however many makes a day on game day and all that. Like he's not the best shooter in the world because like his dad was in the NBA.
Right.
He's the best shooter in the world because he just has taken astronomically more. He's gathered
over
up
time.
Those more points. And so it's the same thing with your body.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great way to end it, because it's like the compound of how we take care of our body, not just for professional
Compound
basketball
effect.
players.
Darren Hardy.
Yeah,
Go buy it.
Go
buy it.
Or for coaches, the same thing. This is a way that we can stay in line as coaches, and then also for just whoever else is listening to it.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
Coaches, especially in the generations we're in, I'm talking to high school, middle school coaches. If you want your guys to be gritty workers and in shape and everything, you don't have to be like in NBA shape.
Yeah.
But they better know that you're working on it.
Yeah. It does help.
Because you just can't ask them
No doubt.
to
well, and then the stresses of the NBA guys and the college guys, like they've got to win. There's a ton of stress on their time, and to be able to keep sleep in the forefront and mental clarity because of nutrition and training,
they need it. They're too busy.
Yeah.
Like they need it.
Yeah. So my question for the audience would be, how are you doing on those 3 things: the training, the sleep, and the nutrition? Maximize those things. PC Henry, thanks for being on board, man.
Thanks, man.
And this is the F2 podcast. We'll see you next time.